Hi, this is Alessio. Hope you're well, and welcome to another update on the markets, and also a brief mention of Bitcoin in this video as well. All right, guys, so in this video, I want to bring your attention to two important mistakes that people are making right now, based on some false assumptions. And I want to cover this for you because it's quite important. So firstly, as you probably know by now, because of the virus situation, a lot of shops are closed right now. And as I'm speaking to you right now, I'm in a car park, because obviously I can't go into a cafe or a coffee shop, so I'm just bringing my coffee outside now, just drinking coffee in an abandoned car park here in the middle of the woods. Anyway, so what I thought I'd talk to you about today is what's happening in the markets and two big mistakes that I'm seeing people are making right now. So here's the thing. You probably have heard recently, if you've been paying attention, for example, to what the mainstream financial news media is saying, and I don't understand why you would, but here's the thing. People have been saying on the financial news media, which by the way is really a bunch of garbage, but on the financial news media, you probably heard they've been saying that the reason why the markets, the stock markets, have been dropping recently is because of the rising cases of the COVID situation, or because of the rising cases of the virus. Now look, I'm not trying to say to you that the virus situation is not serious. It is serious. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there's no correlation between rising cases of the virus and a falling stock market. All right, guys. So this is a very dangerous assumption, which again, people are making over and over again. It's like people have not learned a single lesson from what's happened over the last few months. Guys, here's the bottom line. The stock markets have rallied over 60%, as you can see from the chart, despite rising cases of the virus. Guys, remember, since the markets bottomed in March and rallied significantly higher, over 60%, COVID cases have been rising. They haven't been falling, they've been rising, okay? So again, I don't understand how financial news media come up with this assumption that because the markets are dropping recently, oh, it's because of the virus, because virus cases are going up. This is a complete miscalculation and it's a wrong assumption. And in case you're wondering why financial news media is saying this nonsense, the reason is that there is a significant portion of the population who want a sophisticated story to explain things to them, okay? Guys, I think it's a very human thing. We human beings want explanations, okay? We want to know why things are happening in a certain way. Why is this happening? Why is that happening? Why is the sky blue? Why is the market dropping? Why is it going up? So basically the mainstream media, the financial news media, what they try to do on television is try to explain to that 95% of people out there who have no clue about charts, no clue about how the market works, and they try to say to them, oh, the markets are dropping because of this so-and-so reason, or the markets are going up because of this so-and-so reason, all right, guys? And people believe that nonsense because, again, remember, we're speaking about people who have no clue about the markets, no clue about technicals or charts or something like that. Now, of course, you and I know that this connection, this correlation is non-existent, is nonsense. The markets are not going up and down because of some fundamentals or some news event. And by the way, if anybody tells you there is some connection between fundamentals and the stock market, here's the correct response. Thanks, Kyle. Exactly, guys. So that's the actual response for anybody who thinks that fundamentals is what drives the market or the news is what drives the market. Not true at all. The number one thing which drives the markets is emotion, psychology, the irrational behavior of traders and investors, human beings. Okay, so our human behavior is what causes the ups and downs in the markets. Guys, do you remember in the month of March when the markets were crashing? Everybody was scared. I was saying that I'm getting bullish on the markets. I was saying back in late March that I was buying into the market. I was getting into the stock markets on the cheap. But again, a lot of people out there were saying I was crazy that I was buying into the stock market. They were saying, hey, how can you be bullish when there's a pandemic out there? Guys, remember, we have to do the opposite of the herd, and especially the financial news media, who are the voice of the herd. So guys, remember, the reason why the markets were crashing in March had very little to do with the virus itself, but it had everything to do with fear. It was the fear of uncertainty, the panic that was gripping the market, okay? And that's why I said this fear will eventually subside and will go away, and we'll see the markets go back up again. And similarly, as the markets were rallying higher and pushing higher into the 3,600 region, I was saying we should be cautious here. Why? Because greed was gripping the market. Everybody was becoming over-optimistic. Again, the extreme opposite of fear. So guys, remember, to some extent, we have to be contrarians if we want to be good traders in the market. So going back to my previous point, right now, the mainstream media is saying to people, again, the financial news media is saying to people that the reason why the markets are dropping, oh, it's because of the rising case of the virus and things like that. Again, nonsense. Remember, we've had one of the biggest rallies in history, 60% rally in the stock market during rising cases of the virus, not falling cases of the virus. So again, I'm saying this because the mistake we should try and avoid is not fall into this assumption or this trap that because cases of the virus are rising, therefore it's a bad time to go into the markets. Absolute nonsense. So the second thing I want to tell you about is this. My uncle in America, now he's a strong supporter of President Trump. My uncle loves President Trump. All right, now, as you guys know, I'm impartial. I don't care about any particular party. I'm not partisan towards any party whatsoever. But my uncle, yeah, he supports the president. And he said to me recently in a telephone call that he's going to sell his stocks if Biden wins, if Joe Biden wins. And I said to him, look, listen, you shouldn't make assumptions like that. And I said to him, look, what I said to you a few days ago, that Wall Street loves both candidates. Wall Street does not care who wins because both candidates, both Trump and Joe Biden, are loved by Wall Street. Joe Biden, by the way, he's a corporatist, he's a globalist. So you can see why Wall Street would like him. And of course, President Trump would keep taxes low for the rich. So again, for Wall Street, it doesn't matter who really wins. But the one thing that could scare Wall Street probably could be some uncertainty. And again, watch my previous video. I explained what could cause uncertainty around about election time. So the reason I'm mentioning this, because it's possible some of you, like my uncle in America, may be thinking the same thing. If one person wins, that it's going to be bad for the markets. It's not true at all. Again, the one thing the markets hate is simply uncertainty. All right, guys, let me go now to my final point. It's the most important point I want to mention to you. Right now, we're going into what's called the Halloween effect. Now, I know it sounds made up, but it's true. There is something called the Halloween effect in regards to the markets, in regards to stock markets. I would also say the same thing for Bitcoin as well. Now, what is the Halloween effect? The Halloween effect is simply that the period from Halloween, October 31st, to December tends to be a seasonally bullish period for the market, and also Bitcoin too. So as you can see from this chart, typically between the period of October to December, there's often this bullish period between October 31st, October to December. Again, that's why it's called the Halloween effect, because it starts around about Halloween, about now really. Now don't get me wrong here, I'm not saying that right now is the best time to get into the markets. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that this period, this 3-month period or 2-month period from October to December, seasonally and cyclically and statistically usually has a bullish bias. It tends to be a very strong period for both stock markets and, yes, for Bitcoin as well. As you can see from this chart, seasonally, October to December also tends to be a good period for Bitcoin as well. And by the way, let me say this, the month of December is probably going to be the strongest month in this period because December has what's called the Santa Claus effect, the Santa Claus rally. So that means potentially on the balance of probabilities, any weakness, any major downturn in the markets, and perhaps also Bitcoin as well, can potentially be a buying opportunity for those markets. So again, personally, based on the Halloween effect, I'm actually getting ready to buy into the stock market again at some specific levels in the next couple of months. So guys, that means this, the one thing that I'm going to do with regards to television or financial news media is doing this, essentially turning it off or just smashing it to pieces, because again, I don't need that financial news toilet paper, which is essentially what it is. Guys, remember, there are two kinds of information. Information for the masses and information for the classes. And again, if you want to know what is information for the classes, then pay attention to the charts. Pay attention to the price action. Trust the price action. Forget fundamentals mumbo jumbo and financial news garbage. Trust the price action. Trust the charts. Look at what the charts are saying. As Bernard Baruch once said, show me the charts and I'll tell you the news. All right, guys, I hope this video helps. I'm going to get back to drinking my cold coffee, and I hope you have a fantastic week. See you in the next video update. Cheers.